Welcome to the City of Clawson's council meeting. Today is Wednesday, November 8th. This meeting is called to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation. And I'm going to ask Pastor Stephen Trashel to do our invocation for us today.
He's not in there.
Oh, if he's not, I will. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for us all. Oh, we are going to pray, and I'm going to ask our pastor to say the prayer for us. So, Pastor Stephen Trashel.
Thank you, Penny. Let's pray. Lord, we're so thankful today for this beautiful day you've given to us. We thank you for the city. We thank you for the families that are part of the city. We're asking today, Lord, for your insight, your direction. We ask, Lord, that you'd give us favor as we direct the people of this great city, and we ask that you would give us, Lord, your mind today. I'm asking that you bless our council, bless Penny as she transforms in her life and her changes, make changes. I pray you bless her and her family. I pray today that you would bless each home. We thank you for all things. We pray for your blessings upon us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Lubes.
Here.
Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Councilmember Horton.
Here.
Councilmember Olbert.
Here.
The first item on the agenda, as always, is the consent agenda. On the consent agenda this evening are two items: approving the minutes from our last council meeting and approving a bid for the senior center dining room floor to a company called NBS in the amount of $15,188.
Madam Mayor, I move the consent agenda be approved as listed.
Support.
Any questions? So the senior center dining room floor is at Hunter. Slowly but surely, we have made improvements to Hunter, and as time goes on, we'll continue to do so. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Horton.
Yes.
Councilmember Olbert.
Yes.
Mayor Lubes.
Yes. And as you've heard the invocation by Pastor Stephen Trashel from Grace Apostolic Church here in Clawson, I would like our chief to tell us a little bit more about our new police department chaplain.
Madam Mayor, members of council, it's my pleasure to come before you to introduce our new pastor, our new police chaplain. As you know, we started the chaplain program in 2010 with Bradley Orville. He left the state for work, Florida for work, and while he was also our chaplain, Pastor Traxel was interested, since he came to town, he was interested in being a police chaplain. And so he was the first one we thought of when we had a vacancy for it. So Pastor Traxel, if you can come on up. Madam Mayor and members of council, if you know, I'm still confused whether they call him Pastor or Steve. So anyhow, Steve's a resident of Clawson, as you know, and he's also the senior pastor at Grace Apostolic Church here in Clawson. When you meet Steve, you realize that he's a very energetic, very pleasurable person, and one that I believe will be a perfect fit for our department. What we found in talking to other departments with the police chaplain program, it's important to have the pastor have a good relationship with the officers, so that the officers know when to and feel free to call them to bring them into the situation when there's a stressful situation that goes on, either something that's involved with our officers or members of the community. Because as you know, there's quite often there's a lot of tragedies that our officers deal with on a day-to-day basis. And I am really looking forward to having a resource like Pastor Traxel here or Steve, to work with us. Our plan is for him to interact with other chaplains. We've got him scheduled for a basic chaplain school that's going to be coming up. We also want to try to get him involved as much as we can with other chaplains and other clergy members around town, so he can be our liaison with the religious community here in Clawson. He also has a lot of resources himself that he has through his church that I'm hoping to bring in and incorporate to help us here. So it's with my pleasure that I introduce Pastor Traxel as our new police chaplain.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to Clawson. Hey, you have been a good neighbor and a good friend. When we looked around years ago to begin a food pantry, you offered your church, and members of your church have worked very hard, have a contract with Gleaners, the health department, you have a dedicated area. So you are responsive to the community and continue to look for ways to work in our community, and we really appreciate it.
I love the community. I love the community of Clawson, and I've got a burden for our city, and I want to see us do well. I want to see our schools do well and our kids do well. I was youth pastor for 12 years before I became senior pastor, so I've got a heartbeat for kids. And I love my family's all Clawson residents, and I've got 3 children in Clawson and my wife, and we love our city. And so I'm just glad to be part of the team, serving with Chief Anderson and being part with the guys and girls of Blue for Clawson. And I believe this can be a great relationship. I'm looking forward to greater things yet to come.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. We're glad you're here.
Thanks, Steve.
Do the swearing officially.
You want to come up, take pictures, come on up here.
Do you want to do it right here or up here? Okay.
In front of my friend, Kenny Elizabeth.
Yes.
All right. All right. Raise your right hand and repeat after me.
Okay.
I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution of this state,
the Constitution of this state,
the Charter of the City of Clawson,
the Charter of the City of Clawson,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
perform the duties of the office of Police Department Chaplain
perform the duties of the Police Department Chaplain
in and for the City of
in
Clawson,
and for the City of Clawson,
County of Oakland,
County of Oakland,
and State of Michigan,
and the State of Michigan,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Just get you to sign it.
Grace Apostolic also hosts a picnic for the community each year in late summer,
sir.
where the food is free, the games are free, and raffles, and it's a nice time to fellowship. So they have many events they offer to our community also. All right, back to more business. The next item is looking at a traffic control order to prohibit parking on Gerald Avenue on the east curb line of Gerald Avenue from Madison to 14 Mile, and on the west curb line off Gerald Avenue from 14 Mile to a point 315 feet south of 1110 Gerald. So our chief is on the Traffic and Safety Committee. This did go before the Traffic and Safety Committee, so I'm sure you'll be happy to provide an update.
I would love to provide you with an update, Madam Mayor, members of council. As the mayor stated, it was October 5th, we had it was actually a little bit before that, we had a resident on Gerald Street. I think he may have supplied some photos of congestion problems on Gerald. And it's one of those things where you don't really see it until you start investigating a complaint. So we went down there, and in September, we had this whole thing was brought to a head because the Clawson Manor did a resurfacing program on their lot, which exacerbated the conditions down there. But the complaint from the resident was that there was multiple cars parked on Gerald Street, and they were, because of the narrowness of the street, they were causing a problem for residents backing out of their driveways, as well as it was causing a problem when the fire trucks would try to exit the west drive of the Clawson Manor. Quite often, they'd have to jimmy and get out. So we took a look at it. I consulted with the fire chief, Dulesky, as well as the traffic improvement, or the Transportation Improvement Association, and we came up with, we went forward and brought this forth to the Traffic and Safety Board, and they recommended the recommendations. They voted to a motion to pass the recommendations of the Transportation Improvement Association. And basically what that is, currently Gerald Avenue is posted no parking from 14 Mile Road to approximately 100 feet south of 14 Mile Road on the west side. And then on the east side, it's posted no parking from the west driveway north to 14 Mile Road. And there's another sign that we were having difficulty figuring out the origin of, but it looks like it was left over from when we restricted parking in the area for when 14 Mile Road was under construction. So the Pat Cawley, who's the engineer from the Transportation Improvement Association, said that we had problems with spacing in the side, in the roadway for the signs in order to adequately show the show people that they're parking in an improperly parked place. So he measured the street. The street measured 25.6 feet, and he said that generally it requires 31 feet wide to have parking on both sides of the street. So the recommendation was to have no parking allowed on the east side of Gerald Street from 14 Mile Road down to Madison, and then from 14 Mile Road on the west side, from 14 Mile Road further down past the west driveway, which would be approximately 315 feet south. That would allow an unencumbered exit from the lot from a large truck, from the Manor truck, as well as it would allow for adequate parking for emergency vehicles if they had to respond there to the Manor. So it would be my recommendation to follow the results of that study that Pat Cawley did and have those restrictions put in place.
Well, I'm glad it went before the Traffic and Safety Board. In knowing this, the resident who brought this issue up initially, is the resident advised of the outcome and aware that there would be now no parking at all?
Well, he was there when we pretty much said that's the way it was, but we've began a new policy on the Traffic and Safety Board. We have a volunteer there who's going to start authoring some letters to the residents when they to tell them what the results of the outcome is. So if this resolution gets passed and it's made official, then that resident would be notified by a letter of what's going to happen. So.
Here's where I'm going. Is this the outcome the resident was looking for, to have no parking at all versus crowded parking? And the resident wouldn't have any say-so in this if he gets the letter after council approves or disapproves the motion.
The Traffic and Safety Board discussed this with the gentleman, Mr. Elfren, I think was his name. And he said that he was happy with that outcome, because he says that right now he can't get out of his driveway with the way the cars are parked there. So he reported that there's plenty of room in the driveways there. The main thing is this is being done for safety's sake of the Manor. I mean, it may be an inconvenience for some people to not have be able to park in front of their house on that, across the street on the other side. However, it will give free access to emergency vehicles if something, God forbid, was to happen there at the Manor where we need to have a lot of emergency vehicles present.
Okay, so let's say in 5 minutes this is approved and there are other residents who object to that, then council would be able to look at it again or send it back to the Traffic and Safety Board for additional review?
Well, I guess council always has the right to,
Okay.
make that request.
Okay.
It's, but this would be making it official where the signs would be posted, so.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Madam Mayor, I move the resolution for traffic control order number 01-17 to prohibit parking on Gerald Avenue on the east curb line of Gerald Avenue from Madison to 14 Mile Road, and on the west curb line off Gerald Avenue from 14 Mile Road to a point 315 feet south of 110 Gerald be approved.
Support.
Anything else? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Horton,
Yes.
Councilmember Olbrich,
Yes.
Mayor Lubes,
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
The next item also references a traffic control order. A resident did travel to the Traffic and Safety Board requesting signage because at times on his house, his residence on Main Street, people will commonly turn into his driveway thinking it's a road. Chief?
Madam Mayor, members of council, this was another topic at that same meeting on October 5th. It was, the matter was brought before the Traffic and Safety Board for review. What happens basically is the residence drive is directly across the street from Lincoln Street where all traffic should be turning. But in times of heavy traffic, people gun it to try to get out, and everybody here, I think, has witnessed Main Street traffic. It gets a little crazy around rush hour. And when they do it, they go up the driveway thinking it's a continuation of Lincoln Street. So there was a lot of discussion back and forth with the members of the Traffic and Safety Board. We talked about putting a big arrow across the street to kind of point it, but the way the arrow would line up, since the driveway's right across, that didn't seem to be really the most logical way. So the suggestion was the most less intrusive way to get the point across would be to put a sign that all traffic must turn underneath the stop sign for westbound Lincoln at Main Street to at least inform those persons at the intersection that they have to turn. So it would be my recommendation that we follow the recommendation of the Traffic and Safety Board and have one of those signs installed at that location. So,
Thank you.
Are we
Sounds
gonna
like
do
a
it?
good idea.
You want to do it for Greg?
I've been in that driveway when people try to come through it. So I understand the person who lives there. And although he wanted a light there, I told her not putting a light up for him. But anyways, Madam Mayor, I move the resolution for traffic control order 02-17 for an installation of all traffic must turn regulatory sign under the stop sign at westbound Lincoln at Main Street in order to direct vehicles to property turn onto Main Street from Lincoln be approved.
Support.
Any other comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Olbrich,
Yes.
Mayor Lubes,
Yes.
Councilmember Harris,
Yes.
Councilmember Horton.
Yes.
The next item looks at a resolution approving the Local Road Improvement Matching Fund Pilot Program Cost Participation Agreement between Oakland County and the City of Clawson. So Oakland County is partnering with local governments to provide investment in our local transportation infrastructure through the creation of this matching fund program. And in part, we have our County Commissioner Wade Fleming to thank for this and who brought it to our attention. So this is a program where we're looking at resurfacing of 14 Mile Road and Main Street in 2018 with construction costs, design engineering, contract administration, soil boring, record plans. The estimated cost is $1,320,000, $1,320,650. And there is a cost participation for the $12,480, which is extra that we would pay to Oakland County.
Madam Mayor, I move the resolution approving the local road improvement matching fund pilot program cost participation agreement between Oakland County and the City of Clawson be approved, and to authorize the Director of Engineering Services, Harry Drinkwine, to sign the contract.
Support.
Anything else?
Question, is this just covering the right lanes only? Is that my understanding?
Are you asking our city manager?
No, they'll be resurfacing of all lanes.
Okay.
Roughly,
It's on 14 Mile.
Right, 14 miles
Surrounding east and west of Main Street.
in 14 Mile, same thing. Where the asphalt is in bad shape, it'll be milled off base and then resurfaced.
Basically in the GDA zone where the.
Yeah, it's close to the DDA boundaries. I think it may expand a little bit on Main Street, but
a little bit
it's pretty
past.
close to that. Yeah, a little bit past.
So the $12,480 is extra above and beyond that we're paying?
Yeah, the county did give us permission to utilize the matching funds for that project.
And this is, a few months ago, I'd asked about the rumors of a pedestrian crossing on Main Street. And your report was that this had been discussed at a previous council meeting. I don't recollect that, so still looking for the date of the council meeting that
Okay.
it was discussed
The
at.
crossing was not discussed, but the grant that was awarded was discussed and approved from the Federal Aid Committee. Our grant will be in the neighborhood of $700,000.
I remember the grant issue. I don't remember any conversation about pedestrian crossings. So that was one of my concerns, is that this, again, was occurring without council knowledge, and it's helpful for council as a legislative body to be apprised of these types of things.
Okay, and it will be. It's mainly striping and signage on about the area of Gardner. It would also involve, I believe SMART is moving the shelter to the south to accommodate the striping, to give people a safe place to cross on South Main. But there won't be any islands or anything of that nature. It'll just be road striping and signage.
Basically a sign that says pedestrian crossing, and you have to watch
The
for,
yellow signs with the arrow, so
right.
will be there.
No lights?
No.
Okay.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Lubes,
Yes.
Councilmember Ayers,
Yes.
Councilmember Horton,
Yes.
Councilmember Olber.
Yes.
The next item looks at a resolution approving the interlocal agreement for information technology services for new GIS services between Oakland County and the city of Clawson. I do like to see these agreements. Oakland County is supportive of us, and we enjoy utilizing what services they have for us. So, some of these services include our Clemis, which is the program the police department uses. It also will be more mapping services and data sharing. Yes.
Madam Mayor, may I comment on this? I read the agreement and also talked to legal counsel for Oakland County about it, and the terms are great, but I have something more to add to it. Because of a project that the city is involved in related to the August flood, 2 people were sent for training. And I tell you, we used that website or that information and came up with some dynamic examples that will be used as exhibits. It is absolutely fantastic, the detail that you get. And in point of fact, you can probably use this for planning commission meetings when you have site plans on particular residences or in certain areas. You use that to put in the documentation for the planning commission. It's just incredible what you can do, and then how you can modify it and add to it for purposes that you want to demonstrate. So it's just an excellent program.
Thank you. Who in the city would be able to access and have the education to use the new IT services?
Right, well, I think it's someone in the clerk's office will probably have that. I know that my paralegal is now versed in this because she went to the training. And it's very extensive, very detailed, and but it's worthwhile.
Yes, we will be using it for whenever we have a zoning matter. We have to do a 300-foot boundary, so we'll be able to do those maps. And for other mapping, Harry Drinkwine was there, our AEW consultants were a part of that, and our DPW. So any type of mapping we can do for hydrants, for trees, inventory of anything that's going on in the city. We can mark, I think Susie's going to be involved in it as well. So we can have a map of vacant properties. We can do all kinds of different things with this system, and it's free. It's part of the program that we can all do this. So it is amazing when I looked at the mapping, and I'll be doing the training in December.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I move the resolution approving the interlocal agreement for information technology IT services for new GIS services between Oakland County and the City of Clawson be approved, and to authorize the city manager, the chief of police, and the fire chief to sign the agreement where required.
Support.
I do have a couple questions, Mr. Pollack. I don't know if we've looked at the costs for the requirements. It looks like we have to provide certain things, like cabinet, access to certain things. Have we looked at what the impact will be to us?
We have not, but we do know that we'll be able to access or give them access to the requirements, and we don't believe it will be cost prohibitive. Well, if we get an idea, when we get an idea of what the cost to do that would be, and really it's, they agree to absorb quite a bit of the charges, and then we have to, come up with, our cost portion of this, but it would be negligible, be very small. And we do have the area for it to go, so.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Horton?
Yes.
Councilmember Olbrich?
Yes.
Mayor Luke?
Yes. The next item is solicitation of public comments on the 2018 program year community development block grant monies. So the proposed amount of money for 2018 is $32,010. The suggestions we have to date are $3,000 to Haven and the remaining money to our sidewalk program. So public discussion for utilizing community development block grant monies is open.
Good evening. My name is Janet Vermeulen, and I am here representing Haven. Haven is located at 801 Vanguard Drive in Pontiac. Zip there is 48341. The first thing that I would like to do is thank the City of Clawson for its support in the past. For those who are not familiar with our organization, we are the only sexual assault and domestic violence shelter and service agency in Oakland County. So we really serve all of the cities in Oakland County. I believe everybody's familiar with us, more familiar with the domestic violence component, but we do also assist victims of sexual assault, including nurses that we have on staff who can do the forensic exam. We do counseling both for the victims and their children. We do advocacy on legal issues. So in other words, when somebody needs a PPO, we walk them through that process. And a new focus, if you will, or a bigger focus, is prevention education. So we are getting involved in the schools, trying to change the culture that permits this type of violence to happen. Your support in the past has been very crucial. I have the stats for the period ended from July 1 of 2016 to June 30th of 2017. We had 3,329 individuals were seen and 7,844 crisis calls. In terms of specific to the city of Clawson, We had 2 individuals in shelter, and we had about the numbers sometimes on the crisis center are funny, but approximately another 20 individuals that we served through the crisis line. So I am here to respectfully ask that the city of Clawson continue their support of Haven.
Thank you. We've done that for many years. I don't know that that's going to change. Anyone else for any other suggestions for use of the development block grant monies?
Debbie Woolley, 241 Roth. In the past, we've put the money towards the sidewalk program, and we recently had the millage pass towards that. Is there, when we were looking at making it through the city fast, did we take that money into consideration, and maybe there's somewhere else that it'll better serve?
We did, and the reason we're still committing it to sidewalks is the ADA
compliant.
ramps are very expensive. So in some of the sidewalk program in the past, we have not included the ADA ramps because of the expense. And this program's worked for 2 or 3 different terms now. And that's the reason we're going forward with it. It'll help, the costs that we figured in for sidewalks did not include the ADA ramps.
Okay.
So it's a good source and use of the money, and it certainly is something that we hope to continue. I think I'd mentioned last year, we've used money for large print books before, and Kathy's requested money for drivers for our seniors, and unfortunately, the requirements now of that money require some very invasive questions that neither of them were willing to submit people using the services for. So our recommendation will be, and again, we look at projects each year that might fit, and it's getting very difficult to find projects that work under the CDBG guidelines. So, and we do know the sidewalks are a program we can utilize, continue to utilize, and wisely spend that money.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one question and a comment. Mark, I had a young lady at the polling station tell me that she has a young handicapped daughter and asked why, with the millions that we've put into the park, that there was no swing or handicap accessible type items in the park for her to bring her daughter. So I'm throwing that out there. I understand that her plight. She's got an 8 and 9-year-old daughter, one who's wheelchair bound, who she can't enjoy the playground with the rest of the kids.
Yeah, and I know the restrictions used to limit to low to moderate areas to do projects. That's something I could put to Kathy and the traffic, or the Parks and Rec Committee to see if they would be willing to fund some of that equipment in the park. I think
Even
it would be
just
good
something
use.
to.
But we'll check into CDBG and see if there's any changes there, because, again, I agree. I think that would be if we're allowed to use that money in the park for
Well,
any
my
kind of
understanding
equipment.
was we used to be able to use it in the park, but it's no longer considered the low to moderate
Right.
area, so we
Right.
can't use the block grant monies for that. The Parks and Rec recently conducted a survey, and on the survey were list your top 5 things, and there were probably 20 choices. One of the choices was a handicap swing in the park, so that is nice to know, nice to hear that that's something we would value to put in the park. Public discussion is still open for the block grants. Is there anybody else who would like to speak to that? All right, public discussion is closed.
Madam Mayor, I move the 2018 Community Development Block Grant application be approved and submitted to the Oakland County Community and Home Improvement Division as recommended by the administration, and to authorize the mayor to sign the subrecipient agreement.
Support.
Anything else? What this motion is doing now is saying 3,000 for Haven and the rest into the sidewalk. All right, roll call, please.
Councilmember Horton,
Yes.
Councilmember Olbrich?
Yes.
Mayor Lubes?
Yes.
Councilmember Ayers?
Yes.
The next item looks at placing delinquent city buildings on the winter 2017 tax roll. The amount of the unpaid city billings are $21,592. Cleanup costs at various properties were almost $10,000. Fire inspection costs were $8,800. Removing rubbish, $374, and vacant home inspections, almost $3,000. So, Mr. Pollock, what is the fire inspection, and why is that on the unpaid billings? What would cause somebody not to pay?
The bills are sent out each year, and the ones that are requested to be rolled onto the tax roll are the ones that are unpaid. And for some reason, a lot of them are just ignoring the bill. So the chief had said, well, I'll submit the bills. I think they get 2 copies of the bill, and then if they're unpaid, he recommends that they be rolled onto the tax roll.
Are we doing more inspections than we have done in the past? Is it 1 inspection per business, or now we're doing 2 inspections?
I will
What
check
would
with-
account for that?
I would check with the chief, but I don't think they're doing more. I know he's checking all the businesses that require it, and I believe it's a $40 fee. I would have to check with him to see if he does more than 1 a year. I don't believe so, but I can check with him on that.
Thank you. Yeah, that isn't, I don't generally see the fire inspection fees being added to delinquent billings.
We have, I just don't think it's been this high before.
And why do you think it's this high?
Just a lot of people, for whatever reason, are ignoring the bill. Even though they get it each year, a lot of people didn't pay it, so.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's another reason
Yeah,
for
something
that.
wrong
but-
somewhere.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Madam Mayor, I move the list of delinquent city billings be placed on the winter 2017 tax roll.
Support.
Anything else?
Just a point of clarification again, if anybody tries to write off their water bill on their taxes and gets caught, wouldn't be it's not something they can write off.
It's not considered ad valorem tax, so correct.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Olbrich?
Yes.
Mayor Lubes?
Yes.
Councilmember Ayers?
Yes.
Councilmember Horton?
Yes.
The next line item on the agenda reports recognition of Mayor Penny Lubes. I am here. I am present.
Who?
I did not plan this one.
Mayor, I think I'm going to have the privilege of being first in a lineup of people honoring you tonight. I'm Wade Fleming. I have the privilege of serving Clawson as your county commissioner. And here tonight to present a proclamation, I'd like to read it to you, Mayor.
Sure.
It speaks to the job you've done, and as normal, you've done an excellent job leading this council and this city, and we just want to recognize that. It reads, Mayor Penny Lubes, whereas the wealth of a community can be measured by the hard work and dedication of individuals such as Mayor Penny Lubes, whose extraordinary public service benefits local residents and the city of Clawson as a whole, and whereas Mayor Penny Lubes has been a Clawson resident for 27 years and demonstrated consistent commitment to participating in and giving back to the community she calls home. All 5 of her children have attended Clawson schools, with her youngest currently in 2nd grade at Sham School, and her adult children all graduated from Clawson High School. She was elected to the Clawson City Council in November 2003, 14 years
Yes.
ago. And whereas Mayor Lubes has dedicated tremendous time and energy to the Clawson community outside of her capacity as mayor, including serving as chairman and family recreation director of Clawson Youth Assistance. Mayor Lubes is also a member of the Friends of the Library and co-facilitates the Children's Library Festival. She is a member of the 4th of July Committee and is co-sponsor of Operation SLAM, Students Learning and Mentoring. Prior to her election to the Clawson City Council, She also served on the Zoning Board of Appeals. And whereas Mayor Lubes has served as a Cub Scout den leader for 7 years and as a church group leader for 10 years. She has been very involved in Clawson School PTAs for many, many years and recently helped organize Family Fun Night at Kenwood School. She also assists with the Ready, Move, Learn program and helps out with the Jimmy Marvin Scholarship Fund and recording for the Blind and Dyslexic program. And whereas outside of her position as mayor and her other many volunteer capacities within the community, Mayor Lubes also contributes to improving the lives of others through professional work with Eastern Seals of Michigan. She has a master's degree in social work from Eastern Michigan University and facilitates outpatient and home-based services for severely emotional impaired children and families. And whereas we join with Mayor Penny Lubes' family, friends, and colleagues to thank her for her years of dedicated service as mayor of Clawson, as well as her countless other contributions to the community. Now, therefore, Michael J. Gingell, chairman of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, together with Commissioner Wade Fleming and the entire Oakland County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim special commendation to Mayor Penny Lubes for her dedication and service to the city of Clawson. We wish her all the best in her future endeavors. Thank you, Mayor, for your service. I see you everywhere in Clawson. You know you're still going to be around, and you're going to be really missed, but thank you for your leadership and dedication. Honor well deserved, and I'm sure there's more to come.
Thank you. Thank you. It will be another adventure in life. So. A few minutes. So I'm sure you pulled this from my old campaign literature because I've been in Clawson 37 years now, and it's been a while since I had someone at Kenwood.
That was very impressive. I'm not going to repeat everything that was just said. So I'm going to sort of speak from the heart. And so this is really an honor for me to be able to pay this tribute to you. You know, what you do as a public servant is amazing. People don't really realize the time and effort it takes. And being the longest mayor in Clawson, I mean, you have really given back more so than anybody else has had in this community. And so your role as public servant, though, didn't just stop with that, because you're also a community servant. And so my participation in the community goes back to 2006. And so you are everywhere. So every time I come into this town, you are everywhere. You're at all these events. And so I know that you care about the community. You believe in the community. You want to make a difference. You do make a difference. And the old saying is, the job is 90% showing up, 10% what you do with it. And a lot of people don't really realize that. They don't understand that showing up is a big part of it, and you go beyond just showing up. And I think people appreciate that, and that's why you've been re-elected all these years, because they see you, you're visible in the community, you're accessible. If they have questions, you can answer those questions. And so I appreciate your participation as a public servant and a community servant, and I know you're not going away, because I just don't think you have it in your DNA just to disappear. So we know you're not going to go away, and I can understand why you want to turn it off, but you're going to do other things, and I look forward to seeing you at all these events as well. So right now I have a special tribute. We do have a proclamation, and we will get that to you on Monday. So we just want to have something here for you today. So anyway.
All right, thank you, thank you. Perfect.
Words, Marty.
Hello, Martin.
Good evening, everyone. State Representative Martin Hauerleich standing before you. And it's been a pleasure to work with you in representing the city of Clawson for me, 5 years, for you, obviously 14 years. But my good right-hand man, Ray, has been hard at work helping me prepare this declaration of special tribute, and the governor and lieutenant governor have been kind enough to put their name on it as well. There are a couple of important words in here I want to read at the last couple of paragraphs here, because I really think they speak to your integrity and to your character. and it's obviously written in the third person, so I'm speaking to you, though. Your ability, commitment, and integrity have been reflected in her endeavors throughout her years in Clawson. She has made sacrifices on behalf of the community, and we definitely see that. Willingly and unselfishly, she has attended hundreds of meetings, spent much time listening to constituents, and worked cooperatively with other government officials. There are many factors that determine the quality of a community. One of the most important aspects of any city is its leadership. Penny Lubes has demonstrated that she knows the needs of the community, has the courage necessary to make tough decisions, and understands the important role she plays in making Clawson, the little city with a big heart, a wonderful place to live, work, and raise a family. In special tribute, therefore, this document is signed and dedicated to honor Mayor Penny Lubes for her outstanding service to the people of Clawson, Michigan. We also extend our best wishes for Penny's continued success as she continues to work on behalf of her community in the years ahead. Signed, Martin Howrelak, Brian Kelly, Lieutenant Governor, and Rick Snyder, Governor, on November 8, 2017.
Oh, thank you. That is really nice. Thank you. So, you know, we're all going to have to take pictures.
I think
when this
so.
meeting's over. Well, thank you, everyone. Do you have a few words? Now, I was going to say at the end of my second to last council meeting, what happens from here is on November 13th, we have our organizational meeting here at City Hall. So, as mayor, I begin the meeting. The oath of office is given to the new mayor and two new council people, and then the meeting is turned over to them. It's a short organizational meeting, so officially this is my last council meeting. And I wanted to tell you that the road to success is constantly under construction. Our roadmap for the future of Clawson is our strategic plan and our master plan. Strategic planning is our ability to continually assess our capabilities in order to determine how best to use our limited resources. We need to identify opportunities to expand services to meet the needs of our community, conduct surveys, identify funding opportunities, grants, and begin fundraising for special items. We need to continue to support and improve staff wellness, effective teamwork, and acknowledge and celebrate our accomplishments. Change is proactive, but it can also cause problems. Resistance is a reliable barometer to measure the impact of change. Mark Twain said, "I'm all for progress, it's change I don't like." It has been my pleasure to be the mayor of Clawson for the last 10 years. Being on council for the last 14 years provided an opportunity for me to learn so much more about infrastructure, budget, and policy. It's been a privilege to lead with strength, faith, and fairness. Council is the legislative body of the city. Council members are elected to make decisions for the city, and city staff implement those decisions. In the future, I would like to see joint meetings scheduled with council, planning, and zoning board at least twice a year. I think our city manager, who is also our finance director, has much to do, and as we move forward and have more to do, it might be time to separate those positions. I would like to see the city offices open on Fridays. I would like to see the DDA play nice in the sandbox with others. Council will need to decide who is going to be the council liaison for Clawson Youth Assistance. Council will need to decide who's going to buy the cookies and make coffee for council in the future. I I have 9 grandchildren, and they range in, I'm going off on a tangent for a moment. They range in ages from 18 to 10 months. So my five-year-old granddaughter, Faith, asked, if Grandma's not the mayor anymore, will she still be my grandma? Will I still see her? So publicly, I wanted to answer Faith, I'm still your grandma, and I will see you more now. So that will be one of my activities. Changes you will see in the next few years in Clawson will occur with our new mayor and 2 new council members. Thank you to Jim for council work over the last 4 years, and welcome to Paula Milan and Sue Moffett and our new mayor, Deb Woolley. Will Clawson succeed? Yes, you will indeed. So thank you, everybody. All right, and we are back to our regularly scheduled business. Our city attorney's report. Oh, list of bills, sorry.
Bills.
So we have bills to pay in the next 2 weeks. What say you?
Madam Mayor, let's pay the bills.
Support.
Support.
Any questions on the bills? Roll call, please.
Mayor Lubes,
Yes.
Councilmember Harris,
Yes.
Councilmember Horton,
Yes.
Councilmember Olberg.
Yes.
City attorney's report.
None, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. City manager's report.
My only report is that at the soccer board meeting today, our recycling tonnage from the month of October was the highest in the communities in the 10 years since they started measuring it. Clawson was up 23% over last October. So the carts are working. I know we still have a lot of people that either don't want to try them or did and sent them back. And again, perfectly fine. You can continue to use your old bins, but it's shown pretty quickly that those bins hold more, so people are more apt to put recycling in them. And when the facilities open, it's looking like early December. We hope, again, to have all the services available, the shredding, the other things that people can bring, and at some point to turn that facility into a revenue generator from communities outside of the soccer communities. And we feel pretty strongly that's going to be something we can make happen. So, I commend the residents of Clawson and all the soccer communities for the effort, for the increase in recycling that we're getting and the credits that we're receiving to do that. And then again, I've obviously worked with Penny since she's been on council. I've been here 17 years myself. I appreciate what she's done. We don't always agree, but one thing we've done over the years is we work together to a common good, a common cause. Again, I commend the residents for coming out to vote, whether you voted yes or no on the sidewalk bond. It did pass, and it is something we'll get to work on next year with the funding. And again, the council's, I think, foresight to keep the debt millage around the same or continuing to go down is part of what helped the issue pass. So again, I commend the people here for staying in touch, and anyone who came out to vote yesterday or even voted absentee, we deeply appreciate everything you do here. And it really is a collaborative effort here. It always is, and we appreciate everyone who is involved. That's all I have.
Thank you. Is there any update on the Bauman House, on the status of the demolition?
I was going to ask that myself.
The only thing I can say is that there has been some coordination between the owner and the building department. One of the utilities is already cut off. We're waiting for the other one. And then when that happens, it's not within our control. I don't know if it's electricity or gas on that, but it's not in our control. They do the timing on their own schedule. But we do have the contractor on board, and they're ready to come in and do it as soon as that is off.
Okay. Thank you.
And I might add, the public or the neighbors are constantly informed of the status on this
How are they informed?
through the building department,
Through phone calls?
sometimes face-to-face.
Okay. Thank you. Any other business?
Mark, I don't know if this is yours or Harry's. With all the people walking around towns now and walking their dogs, which is great, riding their bikes is great, is there some kind of program where you could light them up somehow? Or they can wear brighter clothes or something? A lot of the bicyclists are lit up or they have something on them where you can see them, but there's a lot. And I'm gonna say probably about 35–40% that are all dark clothing. And I ran into a problem here about a week ago with a bicyclist coming flying down Crooks Road on the sidewalk, and it was nasty out. And by golly, I didn't even see him. He just came flying across the street like it's nothing. Isn't there some rules with the bikes where they're supposed to stop at these stops? When they come up to a side street also? I mean, is there something out there that's...
I can answer that. A bicyclist has to follow all the rules of the road as everybody else. So, and if you see it, it does happen on a regular basis. People think when they're on a bicycle, they don't have to stop for stop signs, they don't have to stop for lights, they don't have to do different things, but they do. And they can be issued a citation for that. As far as clothing, there's nothing really that I can think of that would require any kind of a reflective clothing. That could be something more of an education deal that we could maybe promote. That's a good idea, though.
Yeah, I'd like to see something promoted because by golly, I certainly don't want to hit somebody on making a turn and you can't see them. I know we've all done it, and there's got to be something or some kind of awareness program out there.
Okay, yeah, well, I'm still working with Albie's bicycle shop about for the bicycle registration and stuff, so
Okay.
I can talk to them and see if maybe
Sure.
there's something that we could, do something through our community promotion to maybe, have some, shirts or something, some kind of a city advertisement through a program or like that. I know they have programs out there that are, lids for kids and stuff like that, where you get grants and you get helmets that you give out. That's a good point. We can look into it.
The reflective tape for
Yeah.
the bike, is that what you
Well, this is,
referencing?
I would suggest people, when I used to run a lot, even when I do ride a bike like I do now, instead of running with my knees, I always wear as bright of clothes as I can because I see what these people do, because the drivers aren't paying attention to you when you're out there, so.
They're on their phones.
So,
Yeah,
okay.
thank you.
Yep.
Anything else? On to new business. We have one of our popular events coming up on Saturday, November 11th, which is the White Elephant Sale at Hunter, sponsored by the seniors. Another fundraiser for our senior center, and Christmas in Clawson at our high school, which is the ever popular craft show. We do collaborate with our civic and our community groups and our churches, as you heard earlier. Clawson United Methodist Church is offering, as a service to our community, a safe, supervised place after school on Tuesdays and Fridays from 3 to 6 p.m. for middle and high school students. Activities at this new Clawson Youth Center will be chess, board games, TV, movies, air hockey, homework, or the ability to just hang out. They will also have cell phone charging stations available. To find out more information about this free program for your middle or high schooler, there are open houses on Tuesday. They've had an open house. The next open house is going to be Friday, November 17th. And then Tuesday, November 28th from 3 to 6 if you're interested in finding out what the kids will be doing. Or send your child November 17th from 3 to 6 after school. And since it's November, we're coming into our holiday seasons with Thanksgiving and Christmas moving up. We have the Christmas tree lighting the last Wednesday in November. I don't know where I put my calendar right now. And that's at the library. It's a joint effort between the Optimist Club and our Parks and Rec Department. Generally, the reindeer are out by the library. So council and the Optimist kids lead the singing of the Christmas carols at 6:30 to 7. You don't want to miss that with everybody's bright and cheery voice. And then when Santa arrives via a fire truck, Santa is given a key to the city, and the mayor will walk Santa over to the high school or here at City Hall for cookies and hot chocolate. So time's moving fast. This year has gone by quickly. Anything else? Any other opportunities coming up? Okay.
Would like to mention the Goodfellow paper sale, which will be, it will be a limited sale on Friday, December 1st, just at 14 in Maine, and most of the major intersections on Saturday, December 2nd. So the Goodfellows, this is obviously helps all the local families in need, and No Child Without a Christmas is the motto. And the paper sale is probably 85–90% of our yearly intake, so we'd appreciate anyone taking an ad in the newspaper for sale. If you'd like to, something to, you know, show off your business, or maybe you'd like to get an interview, get a little something in the paper, you can contact me. The Goodfellows, the Clawson Goodfellows have a Facebook page, which is simply Clawson Goodfellows, so you can contact us that way. We have a phone number, which is 248-407-5522, and also there's ClawsonGoodfellows@gmail.com if you want to send an email. So either one of those three will get a hold of us, and we appreciate your. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the floor is open for public discussion. We really do need the theme song for Jeopardy when it's quiet like that. And the floor is closed for public discussion. So the last item on our agenda is now the adjournment.
Before we adjourn, I would just
Yes.
like to say one thing. I would like to thank everybody for the support the last 4 years. I would like to congratulate Sue Moffitt and Paula Milan, who will be our two new council members. They both are uniquely qualified. And congratulations to friend Deborah Woolley, who will serve as our newly elected mayor. And congratulations to all of you. Congratulations. And with that, I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Before we do that, I'd like to thank Madam Mayor for everything you have done, all the years we have worked together. We've had a lot of ups and downs, yeses and nos, and but it's been a pleasure, and I will miss you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And it's
whatever you're
okay to
gonna do.
disagree.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
That's
We didn't have any fights or like knockdown fights, but it's been a
I
pleasure.
once said to these fellas, we each come with a different perspective and a different opinion. And that's what's nice about council. It reminds me each of the different flowers in one garden, and all the colors together are just gorgeous. And they looked at me and said, "We're not flowers."
Yeah, I don't know where that whole flower thing came from, but it's okay to disagree.
But anyways, I support the motion to adjourn.
Thank you, everybody. See you Monday, November 13th.